Hello everyone, glad to have you back. Remember when I said this? I rarely get to talk about maximum velocity, and I could make an entire video talking about some inconsistencies with machine performance and design. Well, today is the day where I'm finally going to talk about maximum velocity. This video is going to be a combination of lore and some of my own theories and opinions about the game. Please don't take them too seriously. Let's begin with some oddities. What exactly do I mean with oddities? Look at it like this. Maximum velocity always seemed like the odd one out in my opinion, but I don't mean that in a bad way. When I look at it from a pure gameplay perspective, it's certainly an F-Zero game, closer to the original than to cheap Legend or Climax, but those two came after Maximum Velocity. The things I want to talk about are probably stupid to some, but I think it's worth it to talk about them anyway. First is gonna be its not so direct connection to the F-Zero timeline. It is the canon timeline. It plays 25 years after either F-Zero or F-Zero X. There is no clarification on that. Anyway, the first thing is gonna be the lack of any known F-Zero characters. X gave us a cast of 30 characters. Maximum Velocity reduced that to 10 completely new ones, with 9 having absolutely no connection to any of the 30 that came before them. The one exception is Kent Akeshi, who claims to be related to Captain Falcon, but without any proof. The rest is completely new. I have nothing against the new cast, but completely starting from scratch is a bit weird, especially when the original 4 have been kinda established in the F-Zero universe already. An argument could be made that the game plays 25 years in the future, and yes, in theory that's a great argument, but 25 years is actually not that much. If we take a look at the X characters' ages, we see they range from 3, technically if you want to count Blood Falcon as 3 years old, to 240. Many racers in X are in their 20s or 30s, so adding 25 years is not gonna make them too old to race, especially if you consider that Silver Nielsen is racing while being 97 years old. There are also the characters who are quite young, so adding 25 years to them would not make them really old by comparison. But alright, let's give them that. New cast, that's totally fine. We have a single character reference to the previous games with Kent, and that's it. The really big oddity is machine performance, especially top speed. Look at the original, 4 to 500 kilometers per hour. That's fine. X increases that to 700 and beyond, and with GX, AX, Cheaper Legend and Climax, they all go beyond 1000 km per hour. Maximum velocity is at about 4 to 600 km per hour. A bit of a step backward from X, isn't it? A bit weird considering it's in the future in an already futuristic universe, so you'd expect that technology advances even more and they would get even faster, but in reality they got slower by quite a bit. I know this is probably the smallest detail, but I'm still mentioning it because I notice it every time I play Maximum Velocity, and that's the color of the flame. Is it the flame? I don't know. Anyway, the color of the flame is orange, like in the original, but in every other game it's blue-ish. Most of the time. I'm not saying this has anything to do with speed. I tried to find a real-world example and went down a rabbit hole about jet engine technology and stuff, and that's just too complicated, so let's just sum it up. Flames can have many different colors depending on certain circumstances. No impact on performance, I think. Let's move on. The designs are also kinda weird. Is it just me, or do some of them just look outdated? That's probably the wrong word, but I feel like they don't look as sleek and modern like the machines from X. Once again, the engines. Take the Falcon MK2 or Fighting Comet as examples. The engines look like stuff we have today. Especially the Falcon MK2 kinda reminds me of an A10 and not the Blue Falcon. But then you look at the Hot Violet, for example, and that one doesn't have that problem. It would fit right into X without any problems. Designs of many things change rapidly in our world, so they probably change quickly in F-Zero as well. Next up is lore and locations. Maximum Velocity also introduces us to completely new locations while removing all but one of the previously known ones. We kind of have an explanation for one, that being Bianca City. Because pure titanium was found near it, it developed quite quickly and slowly started to replace Mute City. I think it's a bit insane that a city fully replaces another city in just 25 years, but let's just call it future stuff. For example, the Mute City tracks could still have been used, cause I don't think a city as grand as Mute City was fully abandoned in favor of Bianca City, right? There's also this theory that I read somewhere years ago. I'm sorry, I don't know where I've seen it, but somebody said that Craterland Loop Circuit kinda looks like Mute City 1, and yes, I see the resemblance. About the same shape, the answer strip is at the same location. One of the jumps on Craterland lines up with one on Mute City, so sure, I can see where they were coming from, but we know they aren't the same. Craterland is on an unnamed moon, while Mute City is here on Earth. Alright, I think I'm probably thinking too much about it, but play along for this part, okay? What if maximum velocity actually happened in the past? Before F0? What if it was Fmax? Fmax? Maximum velocity? This is so unbelievably far-fetched, but hear me out on this one. No pilot allocations that we know with the exception of Firefield, more on that in a moment, machines that seemingly use technology similar to what we have, and slower performance. Firefield is very interesting because if you look at the background in maximum velocity, it looks like some kind of ancient civilization, and then you look at F0 or GX, where it looks like we have been doing stuff there. Mining in particular. No trace of these buildings, and when you go even further to Cheap Legend, this background looks like the ruins of the building from Maximum Velocity. Think about that for a moment, but don't take it too seriously. That's all just me having interesting theories and connecting things that aren't connected, but there's nothing to really back any of this up. There are a lot of things that prove Maximum Velocity happens after the other games and not before, but I still think this is something interesting that can be talked about. Let's stop my theories and get back to facts and the beginning of this video. Why are there so many oddities in Maximum Velocity? Well, I think a more plausible answer than my theory is the fact that Nintendo did not develop Maximum Velocity. Yes, I know Nintendo also didn't directly develop GX, Cheap Legend and Climax, but I personally don't know how much influence they really had. Anyway, I think Maximum Velocity was just an attempt to try something new, a different direction. Because why not? We went back to familiar territories with the next game, even though Maximum Velocity was received quite well, so they could have stuck with that vibe for F0. Also, Maximum Velocity feels more like a remake of the original game than a successor, so maybe they changed it up to not sell the same game twice, because Nintendo would never sell the same game multiple times for full price. Oh, I know this was a stupid idea, but I finally wanted to talk about Maximum Velocity and what I think about it. It's a good game. It looks like F0, plays like F0 and feels like F0, so it probably is F0. Which it is. Obviously. Like I mentioned, this is just a bit of my own theories, observations and opinions about Maximum Velocity that I wanted to put out there. Maybe someone else had these thoughts too, maybe I'm alone on this. Let me know in the comments. But as always, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next month or next Tuesday with the next Every Character short. Have a good one. Bye.